Technically speaking, this is my outside broadcast unit. There's a lot of banging going on in my house. I'm having a new shower put in one of the bathrooms, so to not be interrupted by a drill, I've come outdoors. I'm always asked, are we winning, are we winning? I've got to say, there's a buzz about this country at the moment, and it's thanks to one man. It's not about party politics, this. It's about individuals who can make a difference. And there's one man who can make a difference to this country. And he doesn't even need to win a seat to do it. And that's Nigel Farage. And the reason I say that is with 650 politicians in Westminster, and most of whom you don't even know their names. They're lacklustre, self-serving career politicians, or they're easily whipped into unsuitable legislation. And Nigel Farage has already stated he wouldn't be anywhere near the WHO, the WEF, and he will be more controlled with working towards greener energy. So I've got to be careful because this is going on YouTube and I don't want to upset anybody. But this man's already won Britain. He doesn't need to win Clacton. I hope he does. I think he will. But he's won Britain. I'm talking to people. I go in these groups. I create these groups where people are undecided or weren't going to vote. And I talk to them about why they ought to vote, especially if you've got a Reform candidate. And these people, they only need half an hour's conversation to understand why they should vote. I'm not saying that we can sort Britain out with everything that's wrong with it just through politics. We can't. But we can certainly defend what we've built up as people by having someone like Nigel Farage back in the arena. He's given up a well-paid job that he loves. He's given up something to come back into politics. Most politicians are hanging on to politics because that's where they get their money from, because that's where they get their expenses from. It's just a job. And you can see that because in these phony debates, at the end of many TV debates, nobody shakes hands with Nigel Farage. They all shake hands with each other. They're all pretend daggers drawn, and then they're all laughing and joking after the debate. It makes me sick because I'm passionate about what I believe in, and I want someone in the Commons as passionate as me. I want someone to deliver what I want. I want someone to say, why haven't we had another inquiry into what's gone on this last few years? But the time to do that is when you've got a seat, not before, when you're trying to get one. Most of the public have forgotten the last 3 years and are just getting on with their lives and have other pressures, like paying the bills and making sure they can make ends meet, faced with humongous tax hikes, not to mention mortgage renewals that are going to cripple them and probably force house sales, which will bring the prices down. And then you have to look at what's gone on with the Bank of England. They bought £1 trillion worth of government bonds. They're now having to sell them back. They bought them just before COVID because they knew they were going to spend like idiots. And they're now having to sell them back at a loss. Now that doesn't sound like anything particular, does it? But the Bank of England is our money. It's our money. It's our taxes. So they've just lost a shed load of money, an unbelievable amount. Someone actually said on the thread it's the equivalent to like £1 million per person over a period of years, because they just didn't think, because they just spend and they use quantitative easing and they don't think about the people, and we are sick of it. But the thing is, right now there's a feel-good factor about the country. People are out again talking about politics. People are saying they're going to vote for Reform. Reform own social media now. I'll put the figures up on my Twitter page. It's unbelievable the reaction that there's been from people regarding Reform. And that's because Nigel Farage is back. Nowhere near the response would have been gained by Reform with the old leader or the old ways. But it's not unusual for people to focus on one individual that inspires them. And he inspires me. Him and a Tory MP actually was the reason I got involved in Brexit, because he made a comment and he said, there are plenty of bloggers out there that can pick up the slack where the media fail. And I remember thinking, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. And I didn't even have anybody following me then. I took a gamble and set my first post to public. Didn't sleep that night. So 360,000 followers later, I'm still at it. But the good thing is that Britain, this last 3 or 4 years, not only has it been depressed, not only has it had an insurmountable grief and anguish to face on every level, financially, businesses crushed, trying to educate your kids at home, 3 of them with 1 laptop, no outdoor space in flats. We've had so much to face. It's been unfair, unbelievable. It should never happen in peacetime. And yet, the British spirit, and this is what separates it, the British spirit is back. It's back, it's buzzing again. It sees there's a road to go, there's somewhere for us to go. There's a finish line. It's not going to be this election. This election is just part of it. What's going to happen is the next few years, Nigel Farage doesn't come back just for this election, then he's going to disappear back to GB News. Nigel Farage is back for a number of years to change British politics. And the great thing about his politics, he believes in proportional representation, because there's going to be shed loads of votes placed for the Reform Party, but because of the way it's split up with the parties and the constituencies, it might not equate to a large number of seats. Nevertheless, those people, whoever you get, fresh faces, that's the best way to describe it, fresh faces in Westminster, because none of the ones in there should have our trust. They've lost mine. The Tories have lost mine because they're not Tories, they're not behaving like a Tory. They're not Conservative. No. And people standing for them, asking you to vote for them now. Are we supposed to forget the last 3 years? I completely understand why Nigel Farage is keeping it out of the forum while he's campaigning, because most of the people queued up, rolled the sleeve up and joined in. So it's not a topic to go to the polls on, but it's certainly a topic to get a grip of once you get a seat. And the thing is, we were sliding down the pan, the country was miserable, people were miserable, they couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, and now all of a sudden that fighting spirit is definitely back. They've jumped the gun too early. I've said this before about the elite, that premature ejaculation is the phrase I use. They've gone at it too quick, too sudden. They thought they had us, they thought we were dim, they thought we weren't taking any notice, but sadly they hit us where it hurts. They hit us with our loved ones, they hit us with our families. They crippled education, kids in mass. They were dire with the way they handled the elderly in old people's homes, and DNR notices put on disabled young people that should never have been anywhere near a DNR. They've done so much damage that what they forget is we don't take this lying down. And now we've got someone to lead a fighting force, and that fighting force will continue. And I do actually believe we're on a trajectory now for change. That's what we're on a trajectory for, where eventually we'll end up with proportional representation, we'll end up with a more direct form of democracy where the big stuff is put back to the people, like HS2. That can only work with an honest media. But if you get someone in politics who drives that media, who stops the stranglehold that the media has on the information you receive, plus people are turning away from the mainstream media by the day. Nobody trusts the BBC anymore. Did you ever think you'd live through your life and think that? Nobody trusts the BBC, ITV, Channel 4. We don't trust them. They're all right, they're okay at Strictly Come Dancing and Channel 4 at something where you get your kit off. I mean, that's what they have to do on Channel 4 to get your interest. Let's think of a game show where you get your kit off, then people will watch. Yeah, let's not just get your kit off, let's show just your nether regions and keep their... I mean, which screwball thought of that? So, unfortunately, the media companies are losing traction all the time, and we're not turning to them for news, we're turning away from them for news. Twitter is where it's breaking, for sure. YouTube is where you can get relaxed information, because I'm not used to talking this long, and it's a more of an amble, and you can choose your podcasters, you can watch your favourite people. And Facebook, it's a walled garden. You know, they catch up on Facebook, you know, people send me messages, June, share this before it gets taken down, and I say, look, it's been up 7 weeks, it's not getting taken down. It's nothing that I don't already know. Sadly, with Facebook, I answer messages when it's from normal people that want an answer to something, but links, I haven't got time to look at them all. The copycat that's copying me will probably share clips of this. I don't know. I've handed it over to a media company and a solicitor now, so I didn't want the expense, to be honest, and I didn't want to monetize this channel. But what choice do I have? Because YouTube's a business, and the copycat has always been monetized with advertising. So YouTube make money from him. They didn't make anything from me. So I have to give them a vehicle for them to put their advertising on. That's all it is. Couldn't give a monkeys about the money, and it'll probably go. It'll go to animals, whether it's dogs, cats, horses, donkeys. It'll eventually go to animals when it starts filtering through at some point in the future. I don't even mind showing you what I'm earning. I couldn't give a monkeys. Believe me, I'm not doing this for money. I've been at it 9 years for free. I've never charged a penny. I've never asked for a penny off the public. So I think we should just make hay while the sun shines. Get your vote out tomorrow. Do your best. Get on with your life. See what transpires after the election. Hopefully there'll be some new faces in Westminster that are better than ones we've been looking at. And I feel a bit revved up, a bit, yeah, let's do this.